Everyone, today we have one of Isaiah's servant songs. Listen to me, O coastlands, pay attention, you peoples from far away. Yahweh called me when I was born. While I was in my mother's womb, he named me. He made my mouth like a sharp sword. In the shadows of his hand, he hid me. He made me a polished arrow in his quiver. He hid me away. And he said to me, you are my servant, Israel, in whom I will be glorified. But I said, I've labored in vain. I have spent my strength for nothing in vanity, yet surely my cause is with the Lord, my reward with my God. Thus says Yahweh, the Redeemer of Israel and his Holy One, to one deeply despised, abhorred by the nations, the slave of rulers, kings shall see and stand up, princes, and they shall prostrate themselves, because of Yahweh, who is faithful, the Holy One of Israel, who has chosen you. So one of the features of the second part of Isaiah are these servant songs, as we call them. And they were personifying Israel at the time. I mean, you literally hear them say that, refer to Israel. And we also, though, believe as Christians that they find their fullest meaning in Jesus. So they weren't read as messianic predictions before Jesus, but once his disciples looked at him and his life, they read back in their Bibles and saw him there. And so what we see is that this is saying that a divine calling does not promise continual success, even when someone is following that calling. And, in this last week of Jesus' life, Holy Week as we call it sometimes, Jesus is using what's described here, that sharp sword of his mouth. And we see that in his continuing arguments with the Pharisees, the Sadducees, all these different religious leaders. And that image is picked up in Hebrews and Revelation of Jesus having this sword in his mouth. But he doesn't just cut people down with insults. He's cutting through the lies of their oppressive religion, the things that they've managed to believe and convinced others of. And as we all know, people love it when you do that, especially powerful religious leaders. They like when you point out how they're wrong, and they always listen and they always repent. Well, we know what happened. And how do you think Jesus actually felt that so many wouldn't listen to his warnings or his encouragements? I think Isaiah's servant song is probably accurate. Was this all in vain? Was this all for nothing? If Jesus was fully human, I feel like he had to wonder if he was a failure. That at least gives me some comfort. And yet, like the servant, Jesus put his trust in God. There will be suffering, but it won't be the last word. And that's why he could even lay down his life. So what about you? You feeling like your strength is spent? Do you feel like all your work has been for nothing? But can you also trust that that is not the end?